This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Introduction. Confusion is the lack of clarity, or, rather, a state of bewilderment or puzzlement. Sometimes, we find ourselves in a constant state of shock from the moment we wake up to the time we retire to bed at the day's end. Any undertaking that we engage in requires a thought process. The uninterrupted completion of a given chronology of thoughts brings about an understanding of the issue at hand. Terms such as train of thought have been coined to explain the thought process. A breakage in the thinking process results in confusion. This may happen in an operating theater, in an examination room, in a football match, when reciting a poem, or doing other day-to-day activities. Confusion is not limited only to the thought process. When we fail to observe any defined rules or obligations, we end up in a state of confusion. For instance, the never-ending traffic snarl-up evident in urban cities presents an intriguing picture in this context. One or two drivers may flaunt traffic rules, resulting in mayhem on the roads experienced by everyone traveling. Think of what would happen if the police downed their guns and refused to enforce the law. The society would descend into anarchy without a doubt. Evidently, confusion threatens to plague every aspect of existence. Experiences. Drawing from the experience of the prisoners in Plato's allegory of the cave, we see how consciously ignorance gives way to confusion. We even subconsciously build comfort in ignorance. The truth instills fear in us, and we wish to avoid it at all costs, often preferring the accustomed ignorance. On the other hand, even the unpalatable truth quenches ignorance, and the more we partake of it, the more we want. Knowledge is the magic wand to expel confusion. We are in a state of confusion and lack of knowledge. We must stay the course of knowledge to ward off confusion. In schools, on many occasions, we have encountered difficulties in comprehending course content, say in algebra, philosophy, and many other disciplines. We are often in a state of confusion either by skipping a step while solving an algebraic equation or being unable to decipher the meaning of grammatically complex essays or texts in philosophy. What we lack is clarity and understanding. There are many steps we have to go through to solve a problem and twist sentences, which appear to get complicated as we read them. Thus, they confuse us. There are students who are able to deduce solutions faster than others. They struggle before they free their minds from confusion. The only way to gain clarity in these situations is to practice more algebraic equations and read the essays or text several times. The more we repeat these processes, the more we sharpen the cognitive abilities of our minds. It is human to be confused. From Plato's allegory of the cave, we see how the prisoners who have never seen outside of the cave are intolerant to the returné who has ascended from the cave. The returné's inability to measure shadows as his eyes acclimatize to the dark interior of the cave is taken as a weakness born of having ascended from the cave. The cave dwellers threaten death to anyone who tries to lure them from the cave. Most people do not admit that they are confused because it will be seen as a sign of weakness. It is by the fact that we are unaware that we are challenged to find the missing pieces. As humans, we need to accept the confusion and try to free ourselves from ignorance. This will only happen if we embrace the truth, accept enlightenment, and develop a hunger for knowledge. It is through the confusion that we get to learn the hidden uncertainties and the unknown. We are able to dig deep to get an understanding of problems. Most scientific discoveries have been made from an act of confusion. For instance, wondering why an apple falls right back to the ground when it is thrown in the air triggers a desire to understand the mystery. Why does it not remain floating in the air? People go to school to learn for the same reason, otherwise, we all will be living in a world full of uncertainties and unexplored mysteries. There are two options that lead to an acceptable solution. Accountants calculate using both options and get the one with a positive impact on an organization. Conclusion. Considerations are made on the long-term implications and the effect on profitability. Governments have set budgets and funds allocated to different projects, but even so, they do set aside other funds in the reserves in case an emergency arises. This allows to alter and change plans in the event that the main plan fails. When faced with a disastrous situation, the reserves kept for such circumstances will be fundamentally affecting change. Confusion aids humans to have forethought. Thus, they are able to plan and learn from past events. Ultimately, we may submit to the thesis that confusion threatens to plague every aspect of our existence. If you want to find more works like this essay on the implications and the effects of confusion, head over to ivypanda.com. It has a collection of samples with thousands of submissions covering virtually all academic subjects.